Watch Jasmine Crockett exposes Jim Jordan and Republicans' lies over Trump's tough-on-crimes policy.
Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pertel, any idea how many inmates in federal prison are not U.S. citizens?
I actually do not know that, sir. I'm sorry.
Mr. Potter, you'd hazard a guess or no?
I do not know.
Mr. Wild?
I do not know.
Mr. Milton?
No, sir.
Well, I think you all testified there's staff shortages. The gentleman from New York just talked about staff shortages. Maybe if there weren't 24,000 federal inmates who are not U.S. citizens, maybe we wouldn't have a staff shortage. Maybe if the administration before this one hadn't just released into the country people who came here illegally and actually detained them, they wouldn't have committed some of these crimes and wouldn't be in federal prison. You think maybe that would help with the situation on staffing that you all brought up, that the gentleman from New York just raised? Mr. Petrell, I'll start with you.
No, I do, sir. And I'm assuming that most of those are under an immigration detainer for when they do come out.
I don't know about most of them, but that's a question I'd have too. Do you understand that? Are they under a detainer when they're released, that at least ICE will have the ability to go? They're not just going to be released into the country.
That's my assumption, but I do not know those numbers.
Mr. Potter, do you know if that's actually the case with these 24,584 Bureau of Prison inmates are not U.S. citizens? You know what percentage that represents of the federal inmate population?
No, I do not.
16%. Maybe we wouldn't have a staff shortage if this would have been dealt with in the previous administration. This is something President Trump is trying to deal with going forward. 16%. Do you know if there are detainers for these individuals who would be subject to that currently going on currently, Mr. Potter?
No, I don't know.
Mr. Wild?
I don't know.
Mr. Milton? Any idea?
No, sir.
Well, what we do know is what happened a few years back. I think goes clear back to the Obama administration. I sent a detainer to the Board of Prisons, or Bureau of Prisons, excuse me, regarding the individual who wound up killing Kate Steinle. So many of you remember this situation. The BOP didn't honor that, instead released this individual to San Francisco, to law enforcement there, who then, to the jurisdiction there, who then released this guy to the streets, who wound up killing Kate Steinle. So I think this is something that we should look at here, this huge part of the population in our federal prison who are not citizens. And again, I appreciate the work. We've known about prison fellowship for forever and the good work you all do. We appreciate the work you're doing with inmates. But I think this is one area where we could make some change. And again, I think the Trump administration is seeking to do that, and certainly not following, well, we're not having near the migrants come to the border now that were coming in the previous administration, but certainly not releasing people into the country like was done before, which then gave the opportunity for this situation to happen with some of these individuals. Any comments on that? Mr. Potter.
I think they may help situation, but I think restoring collective bargaining unit rights is an important issue. Treating people like professionals is also important. So do I think it'll solve the staffing problem? I don't think it'll solve the staffing problem. I think there's a systematic issue here. Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes to how you value the people that work there and how they feel valued is what's going to keep them there.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts from the rest of the panel? Not, I'll yield back to them. I'll yield my time back. I'll yield my remaining time to the chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I now recognize Ms. Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Okay, I don't really know where to begin. We've got a lot of ground to cover in about 5 minutes, so let's go. I've got 3 statements that I want to know if you agree or disagree with, and I want to just go down the row. Yes or no? Does cutting pay typically assist in recruiting a workforce? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Generally, no.
No.
Thank you. It sounds like a low IQ implementation to me. So let's go to the next one. Does poor working conditions assist with recruitment? Yes or no?
No.
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 Sounds like another low IQ implementation. implementation to me. And finally, I'm going to start with Mr. Potter because I don't know how this is going to go. Does union busting help with recruitment?
No.
I know nothing about unions whatsoever. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I don't know anything about unions either.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so again, another low IQ implementation. I just want to be clear that the American people should know that these are all Trump 2.0 policies. So when we say that he's failed, let me tell you, we got receipts, and those are some of the receipts. So when we start talking about this pay, I think that we've talked about the fact that there was a 25%, up to a 25% cut in recruitment bonuses or retention bonuses, but I want to make sure that people understand the numbers. I want y'all to know what the numbers are. It looks like on average in 2023, the average CO for the BOP made $57,000. So now we're talking about potentially up to a 25% cut in that. Now let's transpose that with what they don't want to talk about is what we did last week, which was reconciliation, where in their bill, they decided that they wanted to add this big number as an increase for bonuses for ICE agents. What that translated to was bonuses of approximately $44,000 for each ICE agent. So we're talking about ICE agents getting an additional $44,000 per person, while on average, when we talk about our COs at the BOP only making $57,000 and talking about cutting up to 25% of that. That is why we're outraged. That is why we say that this is a joke, because you can't sit here and continuously underfund an agency and then expect it to overperform. So let's talk about the underfunding. We have talked about immigration for a reason, not because we think that it makes sense to just talk about immigration all day, every day. It seems like our colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to do it, but it is relevant to this conversation. You know why? Because according to this particular document from The Guardian, it says, as it relates to a partnership between BOP and ICE, two agencies that have generally operated separately, means people accused of civil immigration violations are being imprisoned in harsh environments of the federal penitentiaries run by prison guards. Right now, I believe that the number was, the most recent number that I had was that they had approximately 700 persons that were being held for ICE within the Bureau of Prisons. And guess what? Do you think they gave the BOP any extra dollars to be able to take care of those folks? They didn't. I'll help you. It says Congress provided no increase to the BOP's salaries and expenses account in fiscal year 2024, despite the staffing crisis that has been linked to prisoner deaths and a cascade of operational problems at the agency. So, we talked about rape, so let me get to rape. It seems like it's a bit of hypocrisy, but that's not anything new, to say that you want to protect victims of rape and sexual assault and then allow Trump to gut funding for the Prison Rape Elimination Act Resource Center, a center that trains prison sexual assault auditors, tracks the results of the Prison Rape Elimination Act investigations, and provides resources to imprisoned sexual abuse survivors. So my question is, and I ask everyone if you can answer, can we all agree that rape and assault of prisoners is vile and completely unacceptable?
I agree.
I agree.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And the last thing that I'll say is that according to the BOP, there have been a total of 2 individuals that have received gender-affirming surgery while in BOP custody. There have been a total of 4 that were referred, 4 others that were referred and were determined to be medically ineligible. So we're going to have all this talk and all these fights about trans folk, and we're talking about literally 2 surgeries. I'll yield.